still can be eligible. What really are we talking? This is what the government has decided. These are the big changes that are going to decide the medical fraternity and its future, and doctors themselves are divided about this. The storm over the revised NEET PG 2025 eligibility criteria is intensifying. What the nodal board describes as a necessary correction to prevent vacant postgraduate medical seats is now being openly rejected by the senior doctors and national medical bodies. In fact, it's backed by IMA, but several other national bodies are completely opposing it. The sharp reduction in qualifying percentiles has moved beyond a policy discussion and into a full-blown credibility crisis and a debate around it for medical education. Here's a hypothetical situation. Two students, different results, one much higher percentile, the other gets a much lower percentile, but both are eligible. This is where the idea of merit quite honestly breaks down, when negative scores are no longer disqualifying. Even a -40. The system tells sincere aspirants that hard work is optional and standards are negotiable. Voices from within the medical fraternity are warning that this move risks permanently damaging standards. Dr. Rohan Krishnan, chief patron of FAIMA, has called the decision deeply distressing, saying this has become a pattern with percentiles being lowered year after year. He alleges that the real intent may be to fill seats in private medical colleges rather than protect merit, raising uncomfortable questions about commercialization of medical education. These concerns have been echoed by junior doctors as well. Dr. Dhruv Chauhan of the IMA Junior Doctors Network points out that candidates who scored as low as -40 are now being eligible for NEET PG seats. He argues that this sends a dangerous message that money or quota can outweigh hard work, undermining the morale of thousands of aspirants who prepared for years. The nodal board maintains that ranks remain unchanged and that the revised cutoff only determines counselling eligibility with strict document and biometric verification promised. But critics argue that eligibility itself is the gatekeeper, and once the bar is lowered so drastically, standards inevitably slip. At the heart of this controversy lies a deeper question. Is this about saving public healthcare by ensuring specialists are available, vacancies are filled, or is it about rescuing private institutions struggling to fill seats? Is India addressing a manpower crisis or a human resource crisis, or quietly normalizing dilution of excellence? This debate is not about numbers on a scorecard alone. It is about trust in the system, fairness to aspirants, and the future quality of doctors who will treat millions of Indians. The question before us is simple, but the answer is something that we will have to figure out, whether if this is reform or compromise. I am being joined at this point by Manish Bariyar, who is a spokesperson for BJP, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, who is a spokesperson for Congress, Dr. Dilip Bhanushali, who is a former national president for IMA, and Dr. Rohan Krishnan, who is a chief patron for FAIMA India. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining me. A very, very important discussion that India is really looking at, and more importantly, good to see you all after a long while. Well, first to you, Dr. Dilip Bhanushali. IMA seems to be very excited about this. In fact, these are IMA's recommendations alone. How do you explain this? Even with a 0 percentile or a -40 score, one is meeting the eligibility criteria.
Good evening, everybody. IMA, in fact, had written to the Health Ministry almost 1 year back that there should be some consideration in lowering the percentile. We never said it should be brought down to 0.
Okay.
Because there was a vacancy of almost 18,000 seats, and there was a need for specialist doctors around the country, IMA gave a suggestion that lowering the percentile can improve. But we never said we should compromise on the quality of the doctor.
So are you then favoring, or are you upset with what's happened?
No, we are upset in sense because the way it has been brought down to such a level, we are upset about that.
And have you moved the government about this?
No, now that it has come only today, Now
Okay.
this needs a debate.
Okay, Dr. Rohan Krishnan, you have been very vocal about this as well. You've heard Dr. Dilip Banushali saying that, listen, lowering percentiles is a good idea. You are saying lowering percentiles is happening almost every year and compromises the entire system and its credibility. The fact that it is brought down to 0, for you to respond first.
Being brought down to 0 is the mockery of the whole medical education system of the country. And medical system is now very global. So we see what is happening in United Kingdom and their medical councils, and what the Australian Medical Council or Singapore Medical Council per se are doing. And if you see any of the examination pattern in the world, any of such examination for postgraduate degree or for practicing medicine, this is not going to be MBBS doctors. These will be the specialists of the country whom we are talking about. They will be treating your children as pediatrician or curing cancers as oncologist. The major question which lies here is that, are we looking for degree holders, or we are looking for someone who can actually do the treatment? Now, what happens in such cases that when right now you very aptly compare two students, two scenario, that one who has gotten a higher marks and another who has gotten very low marks, minus 40 marks, and both are now eligible for counseling. But the more sad part is that the one who is gotten very low marks, minus 40 marks, will be able to afford a seat in a private medical colleges, which charges around 2 to 3 crores of rupees for one seat. And they are having such 50 and 60 numbers of seats. Now, one point that I want to raise is that why these seats were not filled earlier. These are only because of two things. Firstly, the exorbitant fees. And secondly, that these institutions lack merit. They don't have teachers, they don't have facilities. So a doctor who wants to learn, who wants to grow, who just does not want a degree, are not going to choose such seats. So I can barely tolerate reducing cutoff marks for like if the cutoff is 396 and you reduce it another 20-30 points, so that if someone who has got 395 or 370, those people have gotten another chance that they can.
So you're talking about 25 to 30. We're talking about points being dropped to 300, 400, 500. Dr. Banushali, do you want to very quickly respond to what Dr. Rohan is saying? He's basically even against lowering the bar year on year after this. You are saying dropping the percentile is a good idea. He's saying dropping the percentile is essentially to fill the pockets of private institutions that don't even give you the merit that's required. Very quickly.
The idea behind asking for reducing was to fill up the 18,000 which were going vacant. As such, we need so much of specialized doctors throughout the country. So lowering, we never said the percentile, what percentile should be brought. It should have been discussed with us. We just said that it should be brought down. Now, this is very drastic reduction in the percentile.
No, but say even to drop the percentile, the point is, why drop the percentile? Raise the bar. These are doctors of the future. These are doctors who are going to be treating you, me, my families. Ordinary citizens of this country in government hospitals and outside. Why drop the bar?
Number one was there was vacancies in the postgraduate seats. Nobody was taking it. Second thing is, even if they get a seat, say after lowering the percentage, they get the seat, they have to appear for exams for MD, MS, this thing. They are just not getting postgraduate seat without appearing for exam. And if they are good, they will pass.
Okay, at this point, let's just very quickly, sir, very quickly, let's take a break. Straight after this to Manish Bariyar and Dr. Pooja Tripathi.
तुम डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग के लिए बजट रोते थे, पर पिक्स कितनी अच्छी आई हैं।
बहुत क्यूट लग रही हो।
ऑब्वियो, अपने दम पे शादी करने का ग्लो।
इनकी जिद ने किया डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग का सपना सच, अपने दम पर, टाटा कैपिटल पर्सनल लोन्स के साथ।
अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
दूरियां कोई अपनों में ना रहे, दिल में जब उमंग हो, घर है वही जहाँ सब संग हो, रिश्तों को रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो।
बिरला ओपस पेंट्स।
मेरी बेटी के अभी से बाल झड़ रहे हैं, मैं क्या करूं?
2 स्पून ही काफी है। लायन डेट सिरप, इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स और किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। आयरन यानी बाल झड़ने से रोकथाम। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं। लायन डेट सिरप रोजाना 2 स्पून।
Welcome back. We are discussing the NEET row. We are asking, is this score over seats or seats over score? Manish Bariyar, very quickly over to you. On my panel, I'm being joined by Dr. Pooja Tripathi, Dr. Dilip Banushali, as well as Dr. Rohan Krishnan. Thank you very much. Manish Bariyar, how do you explain this?
Yeah, good evening to you and my co-panelists and all the viewers. This is a very tough discussion both ways, but I feel that, 18,000 seats are lying vacant in a country like India, where every seat is 1.5 crores. It's a huge, colossal wastage of public money. So I don't think this is about, a country cannot afford so many shortages of doctors. So it's, empty hospitals and empty classrooms. I was also listening to the doctor very intently, Dr. Rohan. It's not about private medical colleges. I'm sure you would know more than me that almost 65 to 70% of vacant PG medical seats are in newer government hospitals, or they are in rural areas, and their fees is around 10 to 15,000. I think, I don't know about him, so probably he's looking at from a very city-centric point of view. What one understands is that there are a lot of specialists like radiologists and pediatricians, and as well as psychiatrists. These are not available to rural areas very easily. In fact, there's a huge shortage of these kind of medical professionals. And as Dr. Banushali said, that all of them are going to go to medical colleges and they have to have, pass the exam. So sometimes there is a lot of intellectual elitism in these kind of things. Is there a guarantee that, and that's just for the sake of discussion, that there is a guarantee that somebody who has a 90 percentile is turn out to be a better doctor than somebody who has got a 40 percentile? I don't think data suggests that so exclusively that a person having higher percentages would be a better doctor. So I think one has to look at holistically the need of this country. But one thing I must assure, that the government has done a lot to ensure that things fall in place. There is now, you have an NMC now instead of MCI. Their guidelines are there, very strict guidelines. I've heard that number of seats have been scrapped or people are not allowed to pass. So I think a better system is a good exit system where, the exams are done properly. People come out in a better fashion than the entry.
Okay.
Because,
Manish Bariyar, one thing that comes out of what you are saying is the instant reaction is whenever we talk about reducing the bar, it's often made into urban versus rural. That is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, very quickly, you are a doctor. Do you want to respond to what Manish Bariyar has said?
First of all, I want to understand which rural areas have medical colleges from Manish. And Sneha, first of all, let me introduce, say that it's good to see you after Mirror now on News9. And welcome to News9. And Sneha, the cost of a bad policy in medical education is not loss of revenue or some anti-academic. It's a loss of someone's life. Here we are discussing, access should be expanded. We all agree on that. But what is at the cost of this access to be expanded? The continuous, argument I'm hearing is this loss of the seats are lying vacant, seats are lying vacant. The fundamental questions is, why are seats lying vacant? Seats are lying vacant because there's been indiscriminate expansion of private medical colleges without any quality, and exorbitant fees too. Rohan Krishnan was right, and that's why these seats are lying vacant. And instead, and when you do things like this, minus 40 or reduce the percentile to 5 points, the structural collapse of merit, competence, and minimum standard. These are the doctors that will go out in the outside world and treat patients and will treating specialities. These are PGCs. And when you remove that barrier, of a minimum competence, minimum knowledge, all it is reduced. This whole process is meaningless. All it is registration exercise. And it's not about the welfare of public health. It's not about the welfare of patients, or it's not about welfare of medical education in India. It's only about welfare of the deep pockets of the...
I'm told I'm left with just 2 minutes. So I'm going to give 15 seconds to Manish Bariyar and then 10 seconds to Pooja Tripathi to do a quick counter before I come to our doctors, our experts. Manish Bariyar, very quickly, 15 seconds.
Pooja ji is blaming the increasing the number of seats, and India faces shortage of doctors. I don't know, like 2014 there were only 51,000 seats, and now you have 1,05,000, and it is said that every year India needs 1.5 to 2 lakh doctors every year, and we still have only 1.05 lakh MBBS seats. The number of PG seats in last 10 years have gone up by 80%. I would question what the government had done up till now, in 2014. There was so much of shortage. I think
Manish,
again it comes from a
the
very
question is, this
mindset.
was a recommendation of IMA, but IMA itself seems extremely shocked with what's been done by the nodal board. IMA is extremely shocked. We just heard the IMA. Very quickly, Pooja Tripathi, respond to this. I'll get to go to the doctor experts.
When there is a shortage of doctors, you don't remove the barriers. As I said, it's not about loss of revenue, it's about loss of a life. You are and every consumer court every case that reaches consumer court on medical negligence, increases the mistrust that doctors have with patients, increases the mistrust over any ethical and a credible doctor.
Okay, I really don't have time. Last word from Dr. Dilip and Dr. Rohan, very quickly, please, sir.
Dr. Rohan, you give over. Yeah.
See, I wanted to question one thing, that when we talk about medical education, can we compromise on quality? That is the first and foremost important thing.
Do you think the latest step that's happening is a compromise on quality?
It is a compromise of the whole medical education system and mockery of the Indian government in this, and NMC and all the responsible people are being laughed at a global level. And
Dr. Dilip, very strong words from your colleague himself. Dr. Dilip, quick response. What's IMA going to do about this?
As I said, this is a debatable situation. Definitely, the amount of reduction is drastic. We definitely said it should be reduced for filling up the post, which we needed.
So what's IMA going to do now? What are we going to hear from IMA next?
IMA has given a stand very early. 1 year back only we gave a stand. It reduced reasonably depending upon the...
So you're not challenging what the government has done? You're not planning to do, you're disagreeing with them, but you're not going to challenge them, you're not going to appeal to them, petition to them, write to them?
So many other organizations have already wrote to the health ministry. So let us see what they...
So IMA is IMA. Manish Bariyar, you have your hands up very quickly, less than 2 seconds maybe.
I would like to just present that, all over the world, global health systems, they adapt during challenges and shortages. And I think India is doing the same. It's a short-term intervention for this year, which happened during COVID time also.
Okay, I think I'll allow the doctors to have the last word here. They disagree with what the key nodal agency in this particular case has done, and I think they will have the last words. But the nodal agencies, the doctors' associations have a big role in how to shape this up as well and challenge it before the government, appeal to the government, write to the government. I hope IMA will be doing that as well. We'll be looking out for that. Manish Bariyar, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, Dr. Dilip Banusaheli, as well as Dr. Rohan Krishnan, thank you very much for your time. That's all we have on Point. Thank you.
बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल